Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jai Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Jai Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Vraja Jana Ranjana Yashodanandana Vraja Jana Ranjana Yashodanandana Vraja Jana Ranjana Yamunatira Vanachare Yamunatira Vanachare Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jai Radha Madhava Radha Madhava Radhe Jaya Radha Nila Madhav Radha Nila Madhav Radhe Jaya Gaur Nitai Jaya Gaur Nitai Jaya Gaur Nitai Jaya Gaur Nitai Jaya Sita Ram Lakshmana Bhakta Hanuman Jaya Sita Ram Lakshmana Bhakta Hanuman Jaya Jaya Prabhupada 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 Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Jaya Prabhupada 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 Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Jaya Gurudev 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 Jaya Gurudev Srila Prabhupada ki jai Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai Jai Gaur Premanande. Thank you very much, dear devotees, for kindly being present here today. I am thankful to all of you who have kindly come here, and especially to the wonderful devotees who are managing this wonderful temple dedicated to Sri Sri Radha Nila Madhav, Sri Sri Gaur Nitai, and Shri Shri Sita Ram Lakshman Hanuman. Thank you very much, dear devotees. And today I'd like to speak something about the universal nature of bhakti. But before I begin, dear devotees, it is Shisht Parampara. It is the practice of the previous great acharyas to begin with Mangalacharan. So we will begin with Mangalacharan, auspicious invocations. Most of us know these verses. You can kindly sing along with me. Om Gyan Timirandhasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Soyam Rupaha Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yutapada Kamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamin Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gauratvishe Namaha He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dina Bandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya evacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai, Nitai Gaur Premanande. Thank you once again, dear devotees, for kindly being present here today. I am grateful to each and every one of you who has kindly taken out their time. And dear devotees, before we begin speaking something, it is Shishta Parampara. The tradition is to perform Mangalacharan. We performed Mangalacharan just now. We chanted some verses to ensure auspiciousness for the entire program and for all of us. Dear devotees, it's very important to understand that the path that most of us are following in spiritual life is known as Bhakti Yoga. And Bhakti Yoga is a very universally applicable system of yoga that is mentioned by the previous acharyas and shastra. In the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna spoke of many different yogas, and some of these yogas are Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga, Ashtanga Yoga, and Bhakti Yoga. So we will try to analyze every yoga one by one. Dear devotees, first and foremost, Krishna spoke of Karma Yoga in the Bhagavad Gita. Does anybody know what is the definition? What is the basic meaning of Karma Yoga? Yes. Working in Krishna consciousness, okay.
Karma Yoga?
Yeah, Karma Yoga.
To act in a way which is your inclination but give up the results for
Okay.
higher purpose.
Okay, to act in a way that is your inclination but give up the results. Give the results to whom?
Higher purpose for God Krishna. Not
Okay.
keep it for yourself.
Okay. So it's very important to understand to whom we should give the results. So in the Bhagavad Gita, (3.9) something is specified, and I've shared my screen. Yeah. So this is Bhagavad Gita 3.9, and we will understand what is Karma Yoga simply by hearing this verse. Please repeat after me. Yagyarthat karmanonyatra lokoyam karma bandhana tadartham karma kaunteya mukta sangha samachara. So Krishna says in Gita 3.9, Yagya arthat karmano. So all karma should be performed for yagya. Yagya arthat. What is the meaning of yagya, dear devotees? Sacrifice. So all work should be performed as a what? Sacrifice. Dear devotees, in the commentary to this particular verse, one of the ancient commentators, Srila Sridhar Swami, says something very important. He says something, I will speak it, please repeat after me. Yagyo Vai Vishnu. Yagya is actually whom? Vishnu. It is a Vedic injunction that Yagya is nobody other than Vishnu. So all karma should be performed for Yagya, which means all karma should be performed for whom? Vishnu. Because Yagya Vai Vishnu. Yagya is none other than whom? Bhagavan Vishnu. So dear devotees, performing all of one's prescribed activities and dedicating the results to Yagya. And who is Yagya, dear devotees? Vishnu. That is known as Karma Yoga. So this, dear devotees, is Karma Yoga as defined in the Gita itself. Yagya arthat karma. So performing all of one's karma for the sake of Yagya, and Yagya is none other than whom? Vishnu. So this is what is Karma Yoga. Now dear devotees, people nowadays think they have made a very simplified version of this, which they say work is worship. So that is not what it is. Work is worship is not Karma Yoga. Nowadays people have this bhranti, this false understanding. Work is worship is Karma Yoga. It is not Karma Yoga, dear devotees. Karma Yoga is when work prescribed according to one's varna and ashram is dedicated to one personality. And who is that personality? Vishnu. So work that is prescribed according to one's varna and ashram in the Vedic society, according to the Vedas, that work when offered to Bhagavan Vishnu becomes known as which yoga? Karma Yoga. Now dear devotees, please tell me how many people today are working exactly according to their varna and ashram as specified in the Vedas? Please raise your hands. Are nobody? Huh? At least one person? So nowadays, dear devotees, they diluted this understanding and they said work is worship. And in Hindi they say ki karma hi puja hai. Same thing. So if karma hi puja hai, if work is worship, then the butcher who is slaughtering animals is also worshipping. And the thief who is stealing is also worshipping. And the politician who is stealing millions of dollars is also doing what? Worshipping. So work is worship is a very diluted understanding of Karma Yoga. It is not at all Karma Yoga. Actually, Karma Yoga, very rarely we will find any genuine practitioners of Karma Yoga. And Karma Yoga in itself is not a platform of perfection. Karma Yoga is the first step in the ladder from which one has to advance either to Gyan Yoga or Bhakti Yoga. This, dear devotees, is the first yoga, and most people became ineligible for Karma Yoga because most people are not performing karma according to varna and ashram mentioned in the Vedas. So this is the reason, dear devotees, please keep in mind. It's not that by my own inclination, I will select my work. So work has to be according to the Varna and Ashram system that is mentioned in the Vedas. And then that work has to be dedicated to Vishnu. And then that becomes known as which yoga, dear devotees? Karma yoga. And that is Karma yoga. Now, dear devotees, this was the first yoga. What is the second yoga that is mentioned in the Bhagavad Gita? Gyan yoga is the second. Dear devotees, can anybody tell me what is the meaning of Gyana? Knowledge of what? Knowledge of engineering, knowledge of medicine. What knowledge is known as Gyan yoga? Knowledge of both apara and para. What is apara and para? Apara and para are adjectives. Adjectives of whom? Dear devotees, Jnana yoga is often Jnana is often translated as knowledge. But if Jnana yoga means just acquiring knowledge, then anybody who is knowledgeable in any field of life can be known as which yogi? Jnana yogi. So that is not what Jnana yoga is. Jnana refers to a very specific type of knowledge. And I will speak that. Please repeat after me. Brahma Gyan. Alright, so Brahma Gyan, knowledge of the impersonal Brahman, is known as cultivation of which yoga? Gyan yoga. Now, dear devotees, what is Brahma? What is the impersonal Brahman? Can anybody tell me what is the impersonal Brahman? Effulgence coming from Krishna. Well, that is known as Brahma Jyoti. But what is Brahma?
Non-dual absolute reality.
Oh wow, see more words. Non-dual absolute reality.
That's what they say.
That is Jnanam Advayam. Vadanti tat tattva vidas tattvam yad Jnanam Advayam. Non-dual absolute reality. That's okay. You are defining Brahma. We have to define Brahma according to a very, very clear terms. We should understand what is Brahma. Otherwise, we will just give some fancy words and nobody will be able to make sense of Brahman. So, what is Brahma? Impersonal feature of the Lord. All right. And so, some elaboration upon where can Brahma be found, who is Brahma, where does he stay.
Krishna says that Krishna says that he's the basically he's the supporter of him in 9:20, 14:20.
Brahmano hi pratishtha aham. That is Krishna says that I am the support of the impersonal Brahman. But we are asking, what is impersonal Brahman? And where do you find it? Where in Seattle does the impersonal Brahman stay? Everywhere. Oh, wonderful. So if it is everywhere, then I should see it everywhere. Oh, I see, Prabhu. That doesn't make sense. He's everywhere and he's impersonal. So, dear devotees, in the Upanishads, Brahma is defined in very specific words. I will speak directly what the Upanishads say, because it is important to quote Shastra to understand what is Brahma. Please repeat after me. Sarvam Khalu Idam Brahma. Sarvam Khal Vidam Brahma. Everything here is all what, dear devotees? Brahma. So what does it mean, dear devotees? Whatever we can see in front of our eyes and whatever we cannot see, whatever that exists in this world is known as what? Brahma. Dear devotees, within every object of the world, take any object, for example this stand. Inside the stand there is something. What is present inside the stand? The same answer. What is present inside? Brahma. Outside the stand itself is made of what? I hope you are able to understand. Within you, what is present? Outside you? I hope you are able to understand. So, this Brahma cannot be touched by the sense of touch. It cannot be heard by the ears. It cannot be seen with the eyes. It cannot be smelled with the nose. It cannot be experienced through any of the material senses, because this Brahma has no attributes. It has no qualities. No material qualities are present in it. Therefore, dear devotees, can we see Brahman? No. Can we hear Brahman?
No.
Can we taste Brahman? Can we touch Brahman? Can we smell Brahman? No. But still Brahman performs one function. What function, dear devotees? It exists. What function does it perform? It exists. That is the function that the impersonal Brahman performs. This, dear devotees, to understand this impersonal feature known as Brahma is very, very difficult for those who are within a particular body. Therefore, dear devotees, those who want to understand this impersonal Brahman, they have to dedicate their lives to understanding this particular entity named Brahman, because it is the absolute truth. It is the fabric of all existence in the material world. Everything that exists is supported on Brahma. I hope you are able to understand. Everything that exists is supported on what? Brahman. Just as everything in the ocean is supported on something. What is it supported on? Water. Everywhere in the ocean is what? Water. Outside the fish is what? Water. Inside the fish is what? Water. Everywhere around the fish is what? Water. Can the fish in an ocean easily understand what is water? No. Because everywhere around it there is that substance present. What substance is there? Water. And all existence in the ocean is resting upon that substance. Which substance, dear devotees? Water. Similar is Brahma. Everywhere around us is what? Brahma. Inside and outside us is Brahma. And the entire existence is also resting upon whom? Brahman. But the fish does not understand what is water, because it is difficult for the fish to perceive that particular water. Everywhere around it is that substance. So this, dear devotees, is Brahma. It is the underlying fabric of all existence, but very difficult to perceive it. It can only be perceived in one sense organ, that is the heart. Somebody may perceive oneness with Brahman within the heart, and anybody who does that is known as Gyan yogi. Which yogi, dear devotees? Gyan yogi. So this, dear devotees, is also specified. So this is a very nice verse in the 4th chapter of the Gita. Please repeat after me. Brahmarpanam Brahmahaver Brahmagnau Brahmanahutam Brahmaiva tena gantavyam Brahma karma samadhina. In a fire, Vedic sacrifice, Brahma Arpanam, what is offered is also what? Brahma Havi. So the act of offering is also Brahma. The substance that is offered is also what? Brahma. Brahma Agnav, the fire is also what? Brahmana Hutam, the person whose offering is also what? Brahmaiva tena gantavyam, and the person who offers also attains what? Brahma. So this, dear devotees, Sarvam Khalvidam Brahma. So this is classic impersonalism, and also known as Gyan Yoga. Which yoga, dear devotees? Gyan Yoga. Now, in order to become a Gyan Yogi, it's very important to understand that one has to take sannyas. Without sannyas, it is not possible to enter into the path of Gyan Yoga. Dear devotees, Arjun, in the beginning of the Bhagavad Gita, Arjun wanted to take something. What did he want to take? Sannyas. Krishna prevented him from taking sannyas. Instead, initially Krishna told him, you are not the body, you are the soul. And then Krishna told him, but still you should work in your duty. And Arjun said, why are you confusing me with your mixed instructions? Tell me one thing. So Krishna said, well, instructions of Gyan are meant for Jnana yogis. Instructions of karma are meant for which yogis? Karma yogis. Arjun, right now you should perform your karma because it is required. So Arjun, don't take sannyas right now and don't become which yogi? Jnana yogi. So in order to become a Jnana Yogi, one needs to take sannyas. And in the sampradaya of Sri Adi Shankaracharya, they practice Jnana Yoga, a variation of Jnana Yoga, but none of the heads of the sampradaya of Sri Adi Shankaracharya are grihasthas. There are 4 mathas in India. One is in Kanchi, there is one Kanchi math, there is Jagannath Puri math, then there is one math in Sringeri, there is one in Gujarat, Dwarka, yes, and then there are also some other maths in Kashi. There is one math in Kashi, and I think there is one in where is that? There is one in the northern side. So there are all these mathas are there, dear devotees. Not even a single head of the math is householder. All the heads of the mathas are what? Sannyasis. None of the disciples of Sri Adi Shankaracharya was a grihastha. Sri Adi Shankaracharya once had a debate with Mandan Mishra, and whosoever was supposed to lose was supposed to become the disciple of the other. Mandan Mishra was householder. He believed in karma. Adi Shankaracharya sannyasi, he believed in Gyan. The debate went for many days. Many days. Finally, Sri Adi Shankaracharya, he won the particular debate, and after winning the debate, he immediately gave saffron cloth to Mandan Mishra. That now you are my student. First eligibility is you should take what? Sannyas. Achha, so dear devotees, Jnana Yoga requires sannyas as qualification for attaining perfection. So dear devotees, please tell me how many sannyasis are here? Alright, nobody? Oh, dear devotee, is very difficult. Acha, chalo, theek hai. Still there are 2 yogas remaining. We have hope. There is Ashtanga Yoga and there is which yoga? Bhakti. Chalo, let's go to Ashtanga Yoga. In Ashtanga Yoga, dear devotees, what does Krishna specify as the requirement for Ashtanga Yoga in the Gita? Can Ashtanga Yoga be performed in front of a big screen television at the comfort of our home? No, it cannot be performed. Dear devotees, most individuals, if you ask them what is Ashtanga Yoga, so most may not even be able to tell the meaning of Ashtanga. Ashta Anga, so Ashta Angani Yasmin, basically Ashtani Angani Yasmin, 8 limbs exist within it. Therefore it is known as which yoga? Ashtanga Yoga. What are the 8 limbs, dear devotees? Does anybody know the first limb? Yama, very nice. Second is Niyama. Third is Asan. Fourth is Pranayam. Fifth is Pratyahar. Sixth is Dharana. Seventh is Dhyana. Eighth is Samadhi. Dear devotees, Asan is which limb? Third. But today the definition of Ashtanga Yoga is reduced only to this third limb. First 2 people are skipping because it is very difficult to follow Yama and Niyama, the rules and regulations of Ashtanga Yoga. People directly jump to which stage? Asan. Just practice the bodily postures that are mentioned in the ancient texts. So by directly practicing the bodily postures, you are skipping the first 2. Yeah, therefore we gave it a new name. Acha, what is the new name? It is called, please repeat, Hatha Yoga. Hatha, what is the meaning of Hatha? Hatha means force. Forcibly we skipped the first 2 stages because it was very difficult to follow the rules and regulations. What were the rules and regulations mentioned by Patanjali in Yoga Sutra? But some of the rules and regulations is Satyam, speaking the truth, Astikyam, believing in God, Brahmacharyam, celibacy, staying in a solitude. It cannot be practiced in the city, dear devotees. One has to practice Ashtanga Yoga in a very secluded place. I will show from the Hatha Yoga Pradipika what are the qualifications required for Hatha Yoga. The eligibility for Hatha Yoga is mentioned in the literature for Hatha Yoga itself. Dear devotees, I am quoting directly from the literature of Hatha Yoga. This is from Hatha Yoga Pradipika of Smatma Ram, written somewhere around the 15th century, when he is the originator of Hatha Yoga practice. All the asanas that come today are mainly from this literature. Patanjali did not specify many asanas in the Yoga Sutras. Most of the asanas that we practice today come from one literature, Hatha Yoga Pradipika. Author is Swatmaram. In the beginning of his literature, Swatmaram specifies what is the eligibility to enter into the practice of Hatha Yoga. Ashtanga Yoga we left long ago. Alright, that was more than 500 years ago. So now we are in Hatha Yoga. Dear devotees, please repeat after me. Hatha Vidya Param Gopya Yogina Siddhimicchata Bhaved Viryavati Gupta Nirviryatu Prakashita Surajye Dharmike Deshe Subhikshe Nirupadrave Dhanu Pramana Paryantam Shilagni Jalavarjite Ekante Mathika Madhye Sthatavyam Hatha Yogina. So dear devotees, he says that the Hatha Yogi desirous of success, you can see in the first line, Yogina Siddhim Ichchata. Hatha Yogi should desire one thing. What should the Hatha Yogi desire? Success. What is the success of Hatha Yoga, dear devotees? What was the last stage of Ashtanga Yoga? Anybody knows? Samadhi. Without Samadhi, it is failure. Without Samadhi, Hatha Yoga, Ashtanga Yoga is failure. So, he says, he must keep his yoga practice very secret. Param Gopya. It means that the guru and disciple mutually should know about the practice. We are not supposed to instruct unqualified people. Acha, what happens when we keep it secret? Viryavati Gupta. When it is kept secret, Hatha Yoga is very potent. And Nirviryatu Prakashita. When you reveal it to anybody and everybody on TV and YouTube, Nirvirya, it will lose all potency. This is from the original author of Hatha Yoga. This is Hatha Yoga Pradipika, first chapter, 11th and 12th verses. And then, how should a Hatha Yogi arrange his place of stay? Surajye Dharmike Deshe, in a very pious land where there are no major obstructions, nobody is invading that land, where it is relatively peaceful, you can practice Hatha Yoga nicely. Subhikshe, Nirupadrave, there are no major calamities and there is good amount of food available. Dhanu Pramana Paryantam, you should make a thatched hut. And what should be the length of the hut? Dhanu Pramana. Dhanu means as much as you can stretch a bow. That should be the, pull your hands as far as possible, alright? This is called Dhanu Pramana. This is the length of the hut that should be made, alright? Dhanu Pramana Paryantam. Shilagni Jala Varjite. In that place there should not be Shila, hard rocks, because you have to sit in one place. Agni, there should be no threat of fire. Jala, water, there should be no threat of floods. Otherwise you cannot practice Hatha Yoga nicely. Ekante, you should be in solitude. You cannot stay in the city. Mathika Madhye, in this small thatched roof, Matha. Sthatavyam Hatha Yogina, the Hatha Yogi should reside. Dear devotees, this is how Hatha Yoga is supposed to be practiced according to the original acharyas of which yoga? Hatha Yoga. So I am quoting Hatha Yoga sources to tell everybody what Hatha Yoga requires. So this, dear devotees, is the eligibility for Hatha Yoga. Please tell me how many are ready. Raise your hands. Are? Nice and peaceful place, But only this much, as much as you can extend your hands for stretching above. So this, dear devotees, is eligibility for which yoga? Hatha Yoga. Long ago we left which yoga? Ashtanga. Why? Because yam and niyam, rules and regulations, very difficult nowadays. So Hatha Yoga Pradipika says directly come to asana. Rules and regulations will automatically come. You directly start what? Asana. Then gradually rules and regulations will also happen. So this, dear devotees, is known as Hatha Yoga. And Ashtanga Yoga also you will require to perform asanas on the third stage. But dear devotees, this is the eligibility for Ashtanga Yoga or Hatha Yoga. How many wish to enter into the path? Please raise your hands. Arey, but we were told on TV you can perform at home also, huh? Na, 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 na. It is not possible like that. Anybody who said like that is either trying to mint a lot of money by trying to bring people onto the path, unqualified people onto the path. Dear devotees, it is not possible to practice Ashtanga Yoga or Hatha Yoga in this manner. Now, dear devotees, we are left with which yoga? Bhakti Yoga. Acha. Now, dear devotees, what is the eligibility for Bhakti Yoga? Now, for Hatha Yoga, we saw the text of which yoga? Hatha Yoga. Similarly, for Bhakti Yoga, we have to see the text of which yoga? Bhakti Yoga. So, dear devotees, but we will go one step further. And we will see the text of Ashtanga Yoga and see if what it says about Bhakti Yoga. Do you want to see what the text of Ashtanga Yoga says about Bhakti Yoga? It's very important to see what texts of Ashtanga Yoga say about Bhakti Yoga. Dear devotees, in the Yoga Sutra of Patanjali, it is mentioned in 23rd Sutra. Yeah, this is Sutra 23 of Yoga Sutra. Those who can read Devanagari, please repeat after me. Ishvara, Pranidhanad, Va. This is Yoga Sutra, first chapter, Sutra number 23. Ishvara Pranidhanad Va. And Patanjali is directly saying something. This is the translation. Through a special kind of devotion called Ishwar Pranidhan on the part of the devotee, Ishwar inclines towards him and favors him with grace for fulfillment of his wish. From such grace also a yogi obtains concentration and its result the attainment of the stage of liberation. So dear devotees, Ishwara Pranidhan means direct surrender to Bhagwan. In the commentary to this, Vyasadeva says, please repeat after me. Pranidhanad, Bhakti Vishesha. So Pranidhan means to perform a very specific type of what? Bhakti. So the texts of Ashtanga Yoga give validation to which yoga, dear devotees? Bhakti Yoga. You can also attain perfection by practicing which yoga? Bhakti Yoga. Now dear devotees, this is the universality of Bhakti Yoga, that other texts are glorifying Bhakti Yoga. Texts from other traditions are glorifying Bhakti Yoga. And therefore, dear devotees, it is most important to understand what is the eligibility required to enter into which yoga? Bhakti Yoga. Now, dear devotees, we will look into the eligibility required to enter Bhakti Yoga. Sri Rupa Goswami in Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu, which is the de facto text for defining Bhakti. The best definition of Bhakti came from this text, Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu. Dear devotees, Sri Rupa Goswami defines the eligibility for Bhakti Yoga as follows. Please repeat after me. Shastrata Shruyate Bhaktau Nrimatrasya Sarvadhikarita Magha Snanasya Bruvatayatah Drishtantita Vasishtena Haribhaktir Nripam Prati. Shastratah Shruyate. In the Shastra it is heard. Bhaktau, on the path of bhakti. Nre matrasya adhikarita. The only eligibility is that you should be human. Dear devotees, 2 hands and 2 legs are there. Even if not there, no problem. All right, huh? Are you born in the human species? Wonderful. You are eligible for which yoga? Bhakti Yoga. Rupa Goswami, you might be speaking from your mind. Where is it mentioned in Shastra? That all humans are eligible for bhakti. So Rupa Goswami will say, "Arey, no problem, I will tell you where all humans are eligible, where is it mentioned?" Rupa Goswami will say, human civilization begins from the lowest human all the way up to the highest human. Lowest human according to Shastra is the Chandal. Chandal, also known as the dog eater. Dear devotees, the lowest human is the Chandal and the highest human is the Brahmana. So, if bhakti is accessible to the lowest human being, then definitely the other categories are also eligible. So, in the Srimad Bhagavatam, it will be very clearly specified. 11, 14, 29. Please repeat after me. Bhaktyaham Shraddhayatma Priyah Satam Bhakti Punati Mannishtha Shvapakanapi Sambhava. Krishna says to Uddhav, by engaging in pure devotional service, even the dog eaters can purify themselves from the contamination of their low birth. This is directly Krishna's word in the Srimad Bhagavatam. So Bhakti Yoga is also possible for the lowest human being in the human society. According to Shastra, dear devotees, all sorts of meats are allowed, but the worst kind of meat according to Shastra is whose meat? Dog meat. So anybody who eats dog meat according to Shastra is not considered as very highly elevated. Dear devotees, therefore, if bhakti can purify even the person who eats dog meat, definitely bhakti can purify the person who are above them, dear devotees. Therefore, just as it is elsewhere specified that all human beings are eligible for a special type of purificatory bath known as Magh Snan. What is Magh Snan, dear devotees? Magh Snan is a special purificatory bath which is performed in the month of Magh, in the month of December and January. It is mentioned in Shastra as a snana, a purificatory bath that can purify all human beings of all the negative sinful reactions. What they have to do is very simple. In the month of Magh, December, January, they have to go to the confluence of Ganga, Yamuna and Saraswati. Where is the confluence of Ganga, Yamuna and Saraswati? Prayagraj. In Prayagraj, in that winter season, in the early morning, they have to take a dip for one entire month. Every morning they have to go and take a ritual dip. This is known as which snan? Magh Snan. Rupa Goswami performed this Magh Snan. Rupa Goswami himself met Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in one place after he retired. Where did he meet Chaitanya Mahaprabhu? Prayag. The Shashwamed Ghat is where he met Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. What was Rupa Goswami doing in the month of Magh in Prayag? Magh Snan. Why? Rupa Goswami, why do you need to perform Magh Snan? You are Brahmana, Rupa Goswami. No, I am no longer Brahmana. Why? I have been rejected by the Brahmin community, Rupa Goswami would say. Why? For many decades I worked under somebody. Under whom did Rupa Goswami work? Nawab Hussain Shah. He was the Muslim ruler of India, of Bengal, and then under him Rupa Goswami served for many decades. The Brahmanas ostracized him, and therefore Rupa Goswami, after he retired, he came to Prayagraj and took a ritualistic dip for 1 month. In which month is that, dear devotees? Magh. And that is where he also met Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also instructed him further. So Shastra says all human beings are eligible for Magh Snan. There is no eligibility criteria. As long as you are a human, you can perform which Snan? Magh Snan. So just as all human beings are eligible for Magh Snan, similarly all human beings are also eligible for which yoga, dear devotees? Bhakti Yoga. So now this is very important to understand. Now, dear devotees, therefore you will see that the basic eligibility, once it is fulfilled for Bhakti Yoga, you can enter into the path of Bhakti Yoga. Bhakti Yoga does not require you to first follow any rules and regulations and then enter. First you enter, later rules and regulations gradually start applying when one becomes more serious on the path. Even if somebody is not following the rules and regulations, can they still perform Bhakti Yoga, dear devotees? Yes, but not of a serious kind. I hope you are able to understand. Huh? They can still perform which yoga? Bhakti yoga. Even people who are not following any rules and regulations, they can come to the temple, they can bow down, they can accept prasad. All of these are limbs of which yoga, dear devotees? Bhakti yoga. So Bhakti yoga, eligibility required to enter into the path is simply to be a human being. This, dear devotees, is the eligibility specified. Now, it is very important to understand once we enter into the path of Bhakti yoga. Now, dear devotees, Bhakti yoga is practiced in 3 stages. Alright, please hear carefully. There are 3 stages of executing, 3 types of Bhakti. Rupa Goswami will say in Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu, please repeat after me. Sa bhakti sadhanam bhava prema cheti tridhodita. Now, dear devotees, all of you came on the path of which yoga? Bhakti yoga. Because it is impossible to enter into other paths unless you have very specific eligibility. I told you the eligibility for all the other yogas. Once again, I am summarizing. For karma yoga, you need to perform karma. But that karma is just not any activity. Karma should be performed according to what? Varna and ashram, not otherwise. Those who say work is worship are actually not understanding what is karma yoga. For jnana yoga, there is one qualification required. What is the qualification required? Sannyas. For Ashtanga yoga, there is another qualification required. What is the qualification required? Yam and niyams, and very secretly performed and stay in one solitary place, and so many things are there. For Bhakti yoga, what is the qualification? Human being. Bas, that's it. So all of us are now eligible for which yoga? Bhakti yoga. Rupa Goswami will say, now please try to understand what are the types of bhakti. Okay, so Sa Bhakti, first and foremost, Sa Bhakti is a lady. Bhakti is a lady. Therefore, it is not Sa. It is what? Sa. Sa Bhakti, that lady, wonderful lady named Bhakti, is of 3 types. What are the 3 types? Please repeat after me. Sadhan Bhakti, Bhav Bhakti, Prema Bhakti. Alright, Sadhan, Bhav and Prem. Sadhan, dear devotees, means Bhakti in practice when we are trying to progress. That is known as which Bhakti? Sadhan. Prema is the aim of Bhakti. What is the meaning of Prema, dear devotees? Love of whom? Love of Krishna or love of any form of Krishna is known as what? Prema. So sadhan is the process and sadhya, the aim. What is the aim, dear devotees? Prema. I hope you are able to understand. So on the there are 3 types. See here. Sadhan, bhava, prema. On the left hand side is the process. What is the process, dear devotees? Sadhan. And what is the goal, dear devotees? Prema. Jiva Goswami says, why introduce this third one in between? What is the third one, dear devotees? Bhava. Why put bhava in between? Just have the process and the goal. I hope you are able to understand. What is the process known as? Sadhan Bhakti. What is the goal known as? Prema Bhakti. Why is there one person sitting in between? You know, sometimes on a chair of, on a place where only 2 people can sit, you see 3 people sitting. Huh? So then you ask in your mind, why are 3 people sitting in a place where only 2 can sit? So the answer is that bhav is the intermediate stage where prema has not fully arisen and sadhana is still continuing. I hope you are able to understand. Huh? So bhav has one hand, one arm in arm with sadhan bhakti, another arm in arm with which bhakti? Prema bhakti. So this, therefore, dear devotees, bhav doesn't fall into sadhan bhakti fully, doesn't fall into prema bhakti fully. Therefore, bhav has to be kept separate. I hope you are able to understand. So this is why there are 3 stages: sadhan, bhava and prema. Bhava, we can say, is the stage just before prema arises, just before the goal is attained. That is known as which bhakti? Bhava bhakti. But dear devotees, roughly we can say that actually there are 2 main stages. First stage is sadhan, and what is the second stage? Prema. The process and the goal. Now dear devotees, let's understand the process. Because right now, have we attained the goal of bhakti or are we still practicing? We're practicing. So for us, which bhakti is applicable? Sadhan bhakti, bhava bhakti or prema bhakti? Sadhan bhakti is applicable. Now that we know that sadhan bhakti is applicable for us, we should take great interest in which bhakti? Sadhan bhakti. So, dear devotees, Rupa Goswami will define sadhan bhakti and say, let's understand sadhan bhakti. Dear devotees, please repeat after me how he defines sadhan bhakti. Please repeat after me. Vaidhi raganuga cheti sadvidha sadhana bhidha. Sadhana bhakti, dvidha. Actually, it is not of one types. It is of how many types? Two types. Please hear carefully, dear devotees. This bhakti is directly applicable to us. We are performing which bhakti, dear devotees? Sadhan bhakti. Sadhan bhakti is of how many types? Two types. Please repeat after me. First is, please repeat, Vaidhi. And second is, please repeat, raganuga. So these are the two types of bhakti. Dear devotees, most individuals start with the first type of bhakti. What is the name of the first type of bhakti? Vaidhi. Let's first and foremost understand what is Vaidhi bhakti, because the majority of devotees are eligible for which bhakti? Vaidhi bhakti. Let's understand what is Vaidhi bhakti. Rupa Goswami says, Tatra Vaidhi. Now let's understand Vaidhi. Please repeat after me. Yatra ragana vaptatva pravrittirupajayate शासनेनैव शास्त्रस्य सा वैधि bhaktiruchyate. He says yatra, now that bhakti where raga anavaptatvat, where raga has not arisen. Now dear devotees, the definition of Vaidhi bhakti became dependent on raga. I hope you are able to understand, huh? Now in order to understand Vaidhi bhakti, first we have to understand what? Rag. Because when rag is absent, but Are Rupa Goswami, we don't know what is rag. So first and foremost we have to understand what is raga. Dear devotees, let's understand first what is rag, then we will be able to very easily understand what is Vaidhi. Dear devotees, Sri Jiva Goswami says, you can see here, please repeat after me. Yeah. Tatra Vishayinah Swabhaviko Vishaya Samsarga Ichha. Dear devotees, what is rag? Rag is Vishayina. Just as sense gratifiers have something naturally towards sense objects. What do sense gratifiers have towards sense objects? Natural attraction. What do they have? Natural attraction. Jiva Goswami gives an example. Chakshur adi nam saundarya adav. Eyes have natural rag for saundarya. What is saundarya, dear devotees? Beauty. So eyes have natural raga. What is the meaning of raga? Attraction, spontaneous attraction for beauty. But this is in the material sense. This is in which sense? Material sense. So, he says, Tadrisha eva, similarly, bhaktasya shri bhagavati api raga. Similarly, the devotee also has spontaneous attachment towards Bhagavan. And when the devotee has spontaneous attachments towards Bhagavan, just as a materialist has spontaneous attachment towards what? Sense objects. Dear devotees, when that level of attachment is produced, that is known as what, dear devotees? Rag. Now, how many of us have that level of attachment towards Bhagavan that we have towards sense objects? It's very difficult, isn't it? So, dear devotees, Rupa Goswami says, Yatra rag anavaptatvat. In the situation where rag has not been attained, how many of us have attained rag towards Bhagavan? Not yet attained. But still, pravritti rupajayate. Still we desire, pravritti is there to perform bhakti. How many of us desire to perform bhakti? Please raise your hands. Okay. Please answer in yes or no. Do we desire to perform bhakti? Have we developed rag?
No.
Oh, wonderful. Then how should we perform bhakti? And Rupa Goswami says, Shasane naiva, you will need discipline now. Acha. Shasan, you will need shasan. What is the meaning of shasan, dear devotees? Discipline. Acha, who will do discipline? So Rupa Goswami says the next term, Shastrasya. Who will give the discipline? Shastra will give the discipline. And when such bhakti is performed exclusively out of discipline of Shastra, Sa, that bhakti is known as which bhakti, dear devotees? Vaidhi bhakti ruchyate. Alright, now, once again I am specifying the conditions, please hear carefully. Condition 1, rag has not arisen within the heart. What is rag, dear devotees?
Natural attraction.
Natural attraction, organic and natural attraction, exactly as what? Exactly as who has attraction?
Eyes have
A
attraction.
sense gratifier has attraction towards sense objects. Similar attraction towards whom, dear devotees?
Krishna.
Krishna is known as what? Rag.
Rag.
When rag has not arisen within the heart, okay, condition checked, theek hai. Pravritti rupajayate, still there is desire to perform bhakti, yes or no? Chalo, condition checked. And then such bhakti is performed by shasan. What is the meaning of shasan, dear devotees?
Regulation.
But who will give the discipline?
Shastra.
Alright, when bhakti is performed using discipline given by shastra, condition checked. Then when all three boxes are checked, it is known as which bhakti? Vaidhi bhakti. Congratulations, welcome to the path, dear devotees. We are performing which bhakti? Vaidhi bhakti. Chalo. Now we understood. Vaidhi, sadhana bhakti. And raganuga is also which bhakti? Sadhana bhakti. Both are bhakti in practice. Sometimes people make the mistake of thinking raganuga is actually perfected bhakti. No, no. I told you, bhakti is of three types. Who remembers the name of three types of bhakti? Sadhana, bhava, prema. Dear devotees, in that, Jai. Shri Radha Nil Madhav Jiu ki Jai. Shri Gaur Nitai ki Jai. Shri Sitaram Lakshman Hanuman ki Jai. It's 8:30. What time? We can cut it. So, dear devotees, what were the three types of bhakti? Sadhan, bhava, prema. In this, the goal was what? To attain what? Prema. Now, some people say, no, raganuga is the goal. Raganuga is not the goal. Raganuga is a type of which bhakti? Sadhan bhakti. And the goal to be attained by raganuga is which bhakti? Prema bhakti. So, dear devotees, never to make the mistake that raganuga bhakti is the goal of our practice. Raganuga bhakti is one of the stages of our practice. One of the types of bhakti that needs to be performed. So, this is not the goal, dear devotees. So, but when rag is not present naturally, and when we perform bhakti exactly according to Shastra Shasan, it is known as which bhakti, dear devotees? Vaidhi bhakti. Now, I'll give a few examples. For example, we have to wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning. Why? Brahma Muhurta, we have to chant. Why should I chant in Brahma Muhurta? Huh? It is mentioned in Shastra. All other reasons are not the reason. Less distraction is not the reason. The main reason why we wake up in Brahma Muhurta is because who says? Shastra says. Therefore, Krishna said something for the Vaidhi Bhaktas. Tasmat Shastram Pramanam Te Karya Karya Vyavasthitau Gyatva Shastra Vidhanoktam Karma Kartum Iharhasi. Not only in bhakti, in every day-to-day life, for performing all karma, Shastram Pramanam Te. One should therefore understand what is duty and what is not duty by regulations of what? Shastra. So obviously in bhakti also, one should begin by understanding duty and not duty according to what? Shastra. So dear devotees, Shastra gives the discipline. One should wake up in the morning at Brahma Muhurta. So therefore we wake up. Acha. Now dear devotees, then we should follow 4 regulative principles. Why, dear devotees? Shastra says. We should chant Bhagwan's Naam. Why? Where does Shastra say? Where does Shastra say, dear devotees? Without Praman we will not do anything. Hai na? तस्मादेकेन मनसा भगवान् सात्वतां पति श्रोतव्य कीर्तितव्यश्च ध्येयः पूज्यश्च नित्यदा. Bhagavatam 1.2.14. Translation. Therefore, with one pointed attention, one should constantly hear about, glorify, remember, and worship the personality of Godhead, who is the protector of the devotees. Shastram Pramanam. Shastra said, therefore we are doing. Now this is known as which bhakti, dear devotees? Vaidhi bhakti. Achha. So this, dear devotees, is purely Vaidhi bhakti because raga has not arisen. So a devotee comes in the morning in the temple. Running, he comes in the temple. Before 4:30 he should come. Alright? Because at 4:30 what starts, dear devotees? Brahma Muhurta doesn't start at 4:30. Mangal Arati starts at 4:30. Mangal Arati starts at 4:30. And then he is present in Mangal Arati. Why? Because if I don't attend, then somebody will be speaking against me. Who will speak against me? Bolo, bolo. Shastra will speak against me. Shastra will speak against me. So, he has a little fear in the heart. Acha, why is this person performing bhakti? Please tell me. One reason is to attain what? Krishna Prem. Okay. And then there is another reason why he is performing bhakti. Can anybody tell me? Well, to get rid of suffering. Dear devotees, he wants to go back home, back to Godhead. How many want to go back home, back to Godhead? That is. So that carrot is placed in front of his eyes. Perform Vaidhi bhakti, otherwise you will not be able to go back to Godhead. And once you go back to Godhead, there is no material suffering. So then the devotee thinks, let me take suffering in this life. So next life I will be back to Godhead and everything will be nice and happy. I will stay there happily ever after. So dear devotees, for many motivations the devotee begins the process of which bhakti? Vaidhi bhakti. And follows the dictation of Shastra. Shastra tells him how to practice bhakti. Dear devotees, this is just like arranged marriage. Just like arranged marriage. Two people who don't know each other. Parents introduce them. And two people, they are complete strangers. And then on the day of wedding, they get to see each other's face. Sometimes they like it, sometimes they don't like it. Anyways, they are married now. Okay? So, first time they are going to meet, the parents from both sides give instructions. To the boy they give instructions, you take some nice gift for her, okay? To the girl they give instructions, you cook something nice for him and take, okay? So both of them are given shasan. What are they given? Shasan. What is shasan, dear devotees? Discipline, they are taught. And you should behave with him like this, you should treat her like this, you should know this, you should know that, chalo. And then, first meeting happens and then, dear devotees, 10 years later also if they have to be told, I hope you are able to understand how to behave, then there is some problem in the marriage. After 10 years they should develop something for each other. What should they develop for each other? Spontaneous attachment. What is the term for spontaneous attachment? They should have some anurag. They should have some. But that rag is material. But similar raga one should have in the spiritual platform for whom, dear devotees. So although we may begin on the path of which bhakti? Gradually, it is expected that after a certain number of years, the devotee should develop something. What should the devotee develop? Rag. And then raga will gradually lead him to a very specific type of bhava bhakti, and from bhava bhakti he will also go to which bhakti? Although Vaidhi bhakti can also lead to bhava and prema. But in that sort of bhakti where one is constantly, in awe and reverence of Bhagavan, Bhagavan, you are good there, I am good here, I am very fallen. And there is no raga, there is no spontaneous attraction. So that is not very much desired by Krishna himself, not very much desired by Rupa Goswami. It is better to develop the second type of bhakti, sadhan bhakti. Which is the second type of sadhan bhakti? raganuga bhakti. So that, dear devotees, is what is bhakti, the universality of bhakti. If nothing else, everybody is eligible for Vaidhi bhakti. Which bhakti, dear devotees? Vaidhi bhakti. But not everybody is eligible for one type of bhakti. Which bhakti is that? Raganuga bhakti. So everybody is eligible for Vaidhi bhakti because Shastra will give shasan to everybody. Now, dear devotees, are you interested to hear about Raganuga bhakti? Yes. So we'll discuss that tomorrow. All right. I'll keep a little carrot hanging for tomorrow. All right, dear devotees. So you have to come tomorrow in order to understand the second type of bhakti, which is which bhakti, dear devotees? Raganuga bhakti. Now, I will pause my speech here and I will give some time for question and answers. I am sure there are many questions and answers. So, questions, answers I will give. All right. I am sure many questions. So, I will pause here. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. So, you initially you talked about the Brahma. So, my question is, when we say everything is Brahma, so what makes the differentiation between soul and Brahma?
What makes differentiation between soul and
Differentiation in the sense, what makes them apart or something like that, like differentiate, separate out.
What
like
separates the
separates
soul?
that, yeah. So how do, let's say, yeah, you got my question, right?
So Krishna says in the Gita, Mamai Vamsho. The spirit soul is Amsha. Amsha, that is a small eternal fragmented part of the Supreme Lord, the Supreme Brahma. Parabrahma is Shri Krishna. An eternally fragmented part. There was never a time when the Jiva was created. So eternally fragmented part is the living entity. So what creates the distinction is eternality. Anadikal is what creates the distinction between Jivatma and Brahma. So that there was never a time when the Jivatma was one with Brahma. The split never occurred. The Jivatma was always separate from Brahma. Where is the Praman? So, Mamai Vamsho Jiva Loke Jiva Bhuta Sanatana. Jiva is Sanatan Amsha. Sanatan is important here. Mamai Vamsha Sanatana. The living entity is Sanatan. What is the meaning of Sanatan? It was Anadi Ananta is known as what? Sanatan. Anadi means na adir yasya. We had no beginning in time. And Ananta means no end in time. That is called Sanatan. So the living entity had no beginning in time, which means that the fragmentation never occurred. The living entity is an eternal fragment. So the distinction is created by Anadikal. I mean, you can't explain it in better terms. Anadikal is what has, and the distinction was never created actually. And the distinction eternally exists. So that is what it is. Okay? Yeah. Anybody else?
Can you explain what is Anadikal? How do we understand Anadikal?
How do we understand Anadikal? So nobody can look in the window of Anadi because it doesn't have Adi. There is no beginning. So in the Srimad Bhagavatam, Krishna says to Uddhav, Anadi avidya yuktasya purushasya vedanam swato na sambhavad anyas tattvagyo jnanado bhavet. Please read the translation, Prabhu.
Because a person who has been covered by ignorance since time immemorial is not capable of effecting his own self-realization, there must be some other personality who is in factual knowledge of the absolute truth and can impart this knowledge to him.
So the ignorance, avidya, and the living entity also are both existing since what time? Anadikal. So ignorance is as anadi as the existence of the jiva. I hope you are able to understand. The avidya is as anadi as the jiva. Therefore, if you are asking how can I understand anadi, avidya will prevent you from understanding anadi. I hope you are able to understand, because avidya is the constant companion of the jiva since anadikal. So there is something preventing us from understanding Anadi. What is preventing us from understanding Anadi?
Avidya.
Avidya. And Avidya is also what? Anadi.
Anadi.
She is also sitting in the same vehicle. All right.
So this is pointing to Krishna, that Krishna will impart knowledge and
Yeah. A self-realized person or Bhagwan himself. In most cases it is Guru. In the verse he says, Tattvagyo, somebody who understands Tattva. Gyanado bhavet, becomes the giver of knowledge. Somebody who understands Tattva, who has realized one of the three features of the Absolute. What are the three features of the Absolute? Brahma, Paramatma, Bhagavan. Any one of them, if one has realized, he is Tattvagya. Vadanti tat tattva vidas tattvam. Tattva is of three types. Brahmeti, Paramatmeti, Bhagavaniti, Shabdyate. So that Tattva is of three types. And Tattvagyo, anybody who knows any one type of Tattva, Brahma Tattva, Paramatma Tattva or Bhagavat Tattva, that person can give similar Tattva to yourself. I hope that is clear. Okay? That verse is very important. Anadi Avidya. It tells us that our existence is as beginningless as Avidya.
So I have a little follow-up here. So I said on the three levels, whoever is realized. So how do we differentiate between the three in terms, like if we were to say that someone is Bhagwan realized versus someone is...
Oh, very easy, very simple, very nice question. How does somebody become Brahma realized? How does somebody become Paramatma realized? How does somebody become Bhagwan realized? Very simple. Please hear carefully. In the beginning of his Bhagavad Sandarbh, Sri Jiva Goswami explains what is the difference between Brahma realization, Paramatma realization and Bhagwan realization. Hear carefully, dear devotees. The absolute truth is with infinite energies. Alright? Absolute truth is with how many energies? These energies can be categorized into two types. Spiritual energy, Chit Shakti, and material energy, which is Achit, Jad Shakti. Dear devotees, some transcendentalists, some people who want to realize the absolute but don't want anything to do with Shakti. For them all Shakti is Maya, illusion. So they realize the absolute truth minus any Shakti. I hope you are able to understand. For example, you take any object in the world. You see the form that it is made up of. The form of the object is made using what? Metal. Achha. And how are the atoms sticking together? There's something keeping the atoms together, no? What is keeping the atoms together? The bonds. Alright. And the bonds are exerting something, Shakti. I hope you are able to understand. What are the bonds exerting? Shakti, to keep it together. If the Shakti is lost, what will happen to all the atoms? Disintegrate. I hope you are able to understand. The form of any object is maintained and created by something. What is that? Shakti. Now this, if it is a material object, then the form is created using which Shakti? Jada Shakti. And if it's a spiritual object, then the form is created using which Shakti? Chit Shakti. Now there are some transcendentalists who say Shakti is all Maya, because they only have experience of one Shakti. Which Shakti do they have experience of? Jad Shakti or material energy. They say all forms are Maya. All names are Maya. They are all temporary. They don't want to have anything to do with Shakti. I just want to realize the absolute, subtract all the Shaktis. To them, the absolute appears without any Shaktis. Now when the absolute appears without any Shaktis, will it have a form? Because for a form you need something. What do you need for a form? Shakti. Neither material Shakti he is accepting nor spiritual Shakti. Without a form, without taste, without touch, without... then that is known as which realization, dear devotees? Brahma. That is the first type of realization. Now second type of realization, the second type of transcendentalist wants to realize the same absolute truth. But he accepts the absolute truth only as the controller of the material energy. Has no conception of spiritual energy. So when the absolute truth appears to them only as the controller of which energy? So then it means that he knows that the absolute truth is that which controls the material world. Now in the material world there are three main controllers. Who are the three main controllers of the material world? Please repeat after me. Karanodaka Shai Vishnu, Garbhodaka Shai Vishnu, Kshirodaka Shai Vishnu. All three are Paramatmas. Paramatma is not the only one sitting in the heart. That is only one Paramatma. Actually, how many types of Paramatma are there? Three types of Paramatma. Paramatma of the entirety of material creation, Karanodaka Shai Vishnu. Paramatma of every single universe, Garbhodaka Shai Vishnu. Paramatma of every atom and living entity, Kshirodaka Shai Vishnu. Vishnostu Trini Rupani, Purushakhyani Atho Vidu, Ekam tu Mahata Srashtra, Dvitiyam Tvanda Sansthitam, Tritiyam Sarva Bhutastam, Tani Gyatva Vimuchyate. Knowing these three, the Ashtanga yogi becomes liberated. But now he has accepted the absolute truth minus spiritual energy, but plus which energy? Material energy. For him, the absolute truth appears as within the heart. As which realization, dear devotees? Paramatma realization. Now there is a third category of transcendentalists who wants to realize the absolute truth as the controller of primarily the spiritual potency and secondarily as the controller of material potencies. For him, the absolute truth appears by taking a form using which Shakti? Yogamaya. And that particular person is able to perceive the absolute truth with a form which is made eternally out of Chit Shakti, internal potency. And this person is the one who realizes which feature? Bhagavan. So, very simple formula. Absolute truth minus material Shakti minus spiritual Shakti is which realization? Brahma. Absolute truth minus spiritual but plus material Shakti, which? Paramatma. Absolute truth as the controller plus spiritual plus material, which realization? Bhagavan. That is what it is. Okay? I hope that clarifies. Huh? Simple formula. Huh? What do you call? Left hand rule. Hai na? Aisa. That is what it is.
I think this also answers one more question already, which is that the impersonalists, they don't believe in gunas above, like they don't believe in any gunas above material.
That's
gunas.
what I'm saying. Yeah. Jiva Goswami studied everything. He was at Kashi for 12 years. He knows the left, right and center. What the impersonalists are thinking about. He was under Madhusudan Vidya Vachaspati, who was himself a Brahmavadi. So he studied Vyakaran, grammar and Vedant under Madhusudan Vidya Vachaspati. And they taught him everything. Then Jiva Goswami knew that I have to first learn all of this in order to understand, to write the philosophy. I should know what is Purva Paksh. Purva Paksh means what is the, what are the arguments which are given by traditional Vedantists. Because he knew very clearly the Bhagavatam speaks against this. But first let me understand what it is completely. Because if I understand incorrectly, then I will not be able to represent it correctly. Therefore he represented perfectly in the Sandarbhas. There is no philosopher in the world like Jiva Goswami. Absolutely no philosopher in the world. It is, Prabhupada used to say about Jiva Goswami. Can you read Prabhu in the mic? Prabhupada's statement.
Jiva Goswami has got 6 Sandarbhas, theses. Bhagavad Sandarbha, Krishna Sandarbha, Tattva Sandarbha, Preeti Sandarbha, like that. So these books are, I don't think it is published in English. So these Sandarbhas are philosophically discussed that throughout the whole world, there is not a single philosopher who can defy these Jiva Goswami's 6 Sandarbhas. This is Gaudiya Sampradaya.
This is what is very clearly Prabhupada's opinion. Once you study the Sandarbhas, your backbone is firmly established. Then you cannot go wrong anywhere. So that is learned directly from the school of Jiva Goswami. And Prabhupada also says here. So that is what it is. Okay? Thank you. Okay. Prabhu, you have to tell me when to stop Damodar Prasad Prabhu. We can continue. Okay, chalo. Anybody else? Yes, oh, wonderful. Snehavalli Mataji is here. Thank you. So, Mataji, only easy questions, okay? Huh? Acha. Okay, Prabhu.
Prabhu, Hare Krishna.
Yeah.
Today lecture we were talking about bhaktis, right?
Yeah.
Karma Yoga, you mentioned that Karma Yoga is, if you are performing, it's need to be done based on the Varna and Ashtama.
Right.
But majority of the people, including me, we are all in that particular path. But I was little confused now. People who are working hard, there is no way to get bhakti, or I'm not clear here. Because majority of the time is going in karma doing, because we are very busy, entrapped. There is no way, because we do only chanting maybe for some time, that's it. We don't able to remember God always.
See, Prabhu, those of us who are going to an office and working, so we have to understand, because it is required to earn something for our sustenance, therefore we go and work. Shastra specifies that one should work according to Varna and Ashram. It is very clearly specified in Shastra. One should work according to Varna and Ashram. Otherwise also one can work. But Krishna says in the Gita that sometimes not working according to Varna and Ashram can cause great fear to oneself. It is clearly specified in the Gita, where Krishna says, better to perform one's own prescribed duties correctly rather than performing somebody else's duties perfectly. And in 3.35, this he says, Shreyan swadharmo vigunaha paradharmat swanushthitat swadharme nidhanam shreya paradharmo bhayavaha. Paradharmo bhayavaha, he says. I'll read the translation. It is far better to discharge one's prescribed duties, even though faultily, than another's duties perfectly. Destruction in course of performing one's own duty is better than engaging in another's duties, for to follow another's path is dangerous. So those majority of the people nowadays work in offices, that we understand 100%. Is it their Varna and Ashram duty? No. Therefore, while working, many people may face a lot of distress. And you can see people who work in offices, many of them are under a lot of stress. It is not their, according to Varna and Ashram, they are not working. If they would work according to Varna and Ashram, perhaps they would earn much less. But they would have one thing. What would they have? They will be confident in that particular field and they will know what to do, how to engage in that line of work. So therefore, paradharmo bhayavaha. Sometimes we perform work which is not according to our Varna and Ashram. And most of our time may we go in such work. And therefore, what are we supposed to do? We are supposed to offer everything, whether we did according to, our dharma or not did according to dharma. At the end, offer, it to Bhagavan. Because sometimes the offering is properly done, sometimes the offering is not properly done. Even in cooking, sometimes the cook cooks nicely, sometimes the cook doesn't cook nicely. But Radha Nil Madhav have to accept every day. It's not that unless it is cooked perfectly, we will not offer. Sometimes it may be something may be off mark, but still we offer everything. So similarly, in karma also we have to offer everything to Bhagavan. This is specified in Srimad Bhagavatam 11:36. Kayena vacha manasendriyairva buddhyatmana va nusrita svabhavat karoti yat yat sakalam parasmai narayanayati samarpet. You have the mic, Prabhu, with you?
Yeah.
Can you read the translation, Prabhu?
In accordance with the particular nature one has acquired in conditioned life, whatever one does with body, words, mind, senses, intelligence or purified consciousness, one should offer to the supreme thinking. This is for the pleasure of Lord Narayana.
This is how karma is supposed to be offered. But this is not the highest type of bhakti. It is called Arop Siddha Bhakti. Still a very minor form of bhakti, Arop Siddha Bhakti. So most of our day, if it goes in working at the office, we can dedicate those actions and the results to Bhagavan at the end of the day.
Yeah, just one more follow-up question, Prabhu. How to find out which is the Varna? Because the reason is nowadays in our family and all, if a boy is there, will tell you to become engineer and computer science. And that's how the trend goes on, right?
Yeah.
But how to identify what Varna they can be able to do the right thing?
Alright. So Shastra actually criticizes very heavily when people start to live a life only for earning money. There's heavy criticism in Shastra when people start living life only for earning money. And especially Shastra critiques very much Seva. Seva means just taking up employment for the sake of earning money. Because as human beings, we attained human form of life. The human form of life was for doing much higher things. Much higher things could have been achieved in human form of life. Instead, we did only one thing: seva. Seva means we went to somebody's place and we engaged in some service. In return, they gave us money. So most of our life was spent like that. Shastra speaks very heavily. Sometimes I am afraid to show those quotes. But if I am given abhay, if I am given fearlessness, I will show one quote. Can I show one quote? Yeah, sure. All right, dear devotees. ठीक है. Please don't. It is Shastra. I am not the one. ठीक है? हाँ? So in Hari Bhakti Vilas, it is specified something. In Hari Bhakti Vilas, 9th Vilas, something is specified. Yes, you can see here, Hari Bhakti Vilas 9.257. I will recite the verse, please repeat after me. Seva shvavrittir yairukta nasam yaktairudahritam swachanda charitah kvashva vikrita suhukva sevakah. Sometimes people come from an office and then say, Prabhu, I work like a dog. ऐसा बोलते हैं. So Hari Bhakti Vilas says, Seva Shvavrittir. Seva is the life of a dog. Alright, dear devotees, hear carefully. Seva Shvavrittir. To work for somebody else is the life of a dog. Yai Rukta. Those people who say like this. Na samyak tairu dahritam. Those people are incorrect. They are not correct. They are incorrect. Swachanda charitah kvashva. How can you compare a free roaming dog, dear devotees? Vikritasu kwa sevaka. To a person who has sold his life breath in exchange for money. How can you compare a happy free roaming dog with such a person? Bolo. So this is Hari Bhakti Vilas 9 chapter verse number 257. Slightly offensive, but sorry, this is what Shastra says. Alright. But dear devotees, so dear devotees, this is what Shastra says about seva. Therefore, Prabhupada expected that devotees should become brahmanas. The immediate next verse says, Pani krityatmanah pranan ye vartante dvijadhama tesham duratmanam annam bhuktva chandrayanam charet. Pani krityatmanah pranan. Those who have offered their life breath on their pani, in their hands to somebody else. In my dear master, take my life breath and in exchange give me something. What should you give me? Money, so that I can fill my stomach. Those who have done like this, dvijadhama, dear devotees, even if they are brahmanas, Shastra critiques them very much. So dear devotees, one should know that this sort of a life is not recommended for somebody who is a devotee. Rupa Goswami was performing seva for a long time under which king? Nawab Hussain Shah. And under a king, that seva, Raj seva, is the worst. It is the worst type of seva. In those days, Raj seva is the worst type of seva. Shastra says, no time for chanting Gayatri, no time for waking up, no time for sleeping. Any time Raja will call. King will call. So that was the worst type of seva according to the previous authorities. This is like being on call. Being on call 24 hours. In the middle of the night, Nawab Hussain Shah will call Rupa Goswami. Arey, the enemy is thinking of attacking us. What to do? Arey, I was sleeping. So what? You are a minister, na? So I hope you are able to understand. So this is Raj Seva. Raj Seva is the worst of all. So this, dear devotees, is Seva. And Rupa Goswami himself didn't like this attitude of Seva. At one point of time, he retired. He retired from it. So those who are serious devotees who want to progress, at one point of time, we should know when to retire from Seva. Because Seva is not supposed, a human form of life is meant not for Seva, not for selling one's life breath in exchange for money. Human form of life is meant for doing much higher things, and working according to Varna and Ashram is what will give at least happiness in this life. It may not give money, but what to do? Nowadays in India, money is ruling everything. Na? That is what. Money is ruling everything in India. And Indian people understood that now they need money. Lot of money they need. Indian people need lot of money. They're not happy with less money. So that is why you see seva as the predominant, occupation going on in the world. Okay? Chalo, I'll not say more. Acha, one more question from Snehavalli Mataji.
Last question. Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Hare Krishna. Prabhu, if I heard it correctly, you mentioned and you gave an analogy of an husband and wife that after 10 years also, if they need a guidance, then some rag or spontaneous thing should be there. So applying that analogy on our bhakti, sadhana bhakti, if we are doing a sadhana bhakti, let's say for 10 years, you used a number of 10 years. So my thing is, you said the attraction should develop automatically. Now the question is, if it doesn't develop, is it only because of the offenses, or what is wrong in that?
If attraction doesn't develop even after spending considerable number of time, if rag has not developed, because the Gaudiya Vaishnava path is a path of raga bhakti. Gaudiya Vaishnava path is mainly a path of raga bhakti. So even after considerable time, if we have not developed, then it means that our association has not been with, our association has not led us to the proper understanding or the proper path. So somebody should have come and told us that raga bhakti needs to be performed. And we could not associate with such a person. Because simply by Vaidhi Bhakti, it is not possible to attain Goloka Vrindavan.
Yeah.
That is 100% clear. Simply by Vaidhi Bhakti, you cannot attain Goloka Vrindavan. Many times I have shown the pramanas. Does anybody want to see the pramana for that? By Vaidhi Bhakti, you cannot attain Goloka Vrindavan. Very clearly it is mentioned. सकल जगते मोर करे विधि भक्ति व्रज भाव पाइते नाही शक्ति. Chaitanya Charitamrita Adi Leela 3.15. Mataji, can you read the translation?
Yes, everywhere in the world people worship me according to scriptural injunctions. But simply by following such regulative principles, one cannot attain the loving sentiments of the devotees in Brajbhumi.
Acha, then how does one attain the loving sentiment? This is the Shastra is speaking in a negative mouth. You cannot attain. Shastra should also speak through a positive mouth. How can you attain? So, Shastra will speak through positive mouth. Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya 8.221. Raganuga marge tare bhaje yahi jan, sei jan paye vraje vrajendra nandan. Mataji, please read the translation.
If one worships the Lord on the path of spontaneous love and goes to Vrindavan, he receives the shelter of Vrajendra Nandana, the son of Nand Maharaj.
Here Shastra is speaking through positive mouth. So which bhakti is required to attain Goloka Vrindavan? Hence proved. You see, there and both translations are by Srila Prabhupada. It's not my translation. Both translations are by Srila Prabhupada. So first translation is also by him. This translation is also by Chaitanya Charitamrita. Translation is by him. So it is very clearly mentioned. Now if after 10 years also we could not find our way through, it means somewhere we were not explained or some, I don't know, I can't do the diagnosis for that. But somebody should come at some point of time and tell us, this is what is needed.
Just to confirm, so you said that Gaudiya Vaishnavism is primarily spontaneous.
It's right here. Gaudiya Vaishnavism worships which Bhagwan? Krishna, na? So for attaining Krishna in Goloka Vrindavan, what sort of bhakti is needed? Rag bhakti is needed.
So Prabhu, one thing also I heard that you said that raganuga bhakti is a Vaidhi sadhana bhakti ke andar, it is included in that. Did you say that?
No,
something?
Raganuga bhakti is one of the types of sadhana bhakti.
One of the types of sadhan bhakti.
The
Yeah,
other
and
one
you
being-
said we are already doing that, right?
No, most of us are performing the other type of sadhan bhakti,
Yeah.
which is Vaidhi sadhan bhakti.
Yeah.
But the other type of sadhan bhakti is Raganuga sadhan bhakti. So both are parallel tracks. Both are sadhan bhakti. One may be, a devotee may be running on one of the tracks, Vaidhi. Some devotees have managed to put their feet on both tracks. Vaidhi Samvilita Raga, Jiva Goswami will say. And some have switched purely to the second track, which is that Raga Bhakti. So, some are exclusively Vaidhi. I told you what is the condition for Vaidhi. When Rag has not developed, still tendency to perform Bhakti is there, but exclusively by Shasan. What is Shasan? Whose discipline?
Shastra.
That is known as Vaidhi Bhakti. It will not lead to Goloka Vrindavan. What will lead to Goloka Vrindavan is the other type of Bhakti, Raga Bhakti. But for that, tomorrow I will explain, try to explain. It is Raga Bhakti.
Okay. Thank you, Prabhu.
Thank you. ठीक है चलो. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada की जय.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhu, for the wonderful session. And every time you come and speak, we come to know how much we don't know. So thank you for keeping us honest. And all the questions today are very wonderful questions, specifically the question and answer sessions. Want to say something? Okay. Question and answers are the wonderful part of this kind of sessions. And tomorrow we're going to continue at 7:30 in the temple, right? Yes. Yeah, in the temple. So, and also I now with us is His Grace Paramakaruna Prabhu is here from Portland. I just want to acknowledge the first time we invited Hari Parshad Prabhu is because of Damodar Lila Mataji and Paramakaruna Prabhu actually called us saying that Hari Parshad Prabhu is coming to Portland. Do you want to invite him to Seattle? What a wonderful decision we made. Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna. So this is a new book, right? Or last year? Yeah, if this is a book last year also Prabhu brought it. If anybody is interested in Bhakti Rasayanam, and please contact Paramakaruna Prabhu here. He's going to be here next 2 days. Yeah, so please take this one. Hare Krishna.